Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel. I'm so excited for you to have joined me here today for this Pick a Pile reading. Today's Pick a Pile reading is going to be based on healing painful narratives. So we all love stories and we all live our life based on stories that we have been told, that we remember from our past, that we believe about ourselves, and some of these stories can be really wounding and hurtful, not only to ourselves but to others, and we don't realize that we're kind of living through this story and so through this perspective, and we're kind of moving from that place. So I really wanted to do a video, and when I asked kind of my guides for inspiration on what type of video I should do, I pulled the Five of Cups. And to me, the Five of Cups really represents this experience where we are experiencing grief come up, and with the grief also arises a lot of shame or guilt around that story, and it can be much more difficult to move through painful experiences where we're also feeling shame and guilt and fear. And I actually wrote a poem inspired by the Five of Cups, which I will share below in the description. And yeah, I really hope that you'll enjoy this video. I hope that it will heal your heart and heal your body. That's what my whole channel really, that's what I want it to be about, at least. So yeah, welcome into this space, and please take what you need, leave what you don't. All of my readings are based off of me, my experiences, my channel. So if it doesn't jive with you, that's totally fine, and no disrespect. So we have three crystals here, and I'll start with the first one that we have. We have our clear quartz crystal. So this would be for pile number 1, clear quartz. Pile number 2, we have petrified wood. And pile number 3, we have citrine. So take your time choosing a crystal. As always, I recommend choosing the crystal that kind of jumped out at you from the get-go. I know our critical mind starts to kick in and we think, oh no, am I choosing the right one? Maybe that one's not as pretty as the other one. I guarantee that if you go with your gut, you'll probably land on the video that is for you, the reading that is for you. And of course, if more than one crystal calls your name, feel free to watch 2 readings. So yeah, take your time, choose your crystal, and I'll see you in your specific reading. Welcome, my pile number 1. I'm so glad to have you here. For those of you who chose the clear quartz crystal, as always, I'm using my beloved Motherpeace tarot deck. So I've shuffled the cards already, but I'm going to shuffle them a bit more as we go through the questions. So the first question that I want to ask, or the first kind of prompt that we're using for our first card, is the belief formed by fear or guilt-based experiences. So these are stories that we have cultivated and kind of nourished over the years based on fear or guilt. And so we're going to look at that for you. Maybe this story in your life right now. As always, my readings are kind of for the present moment, so please, I encourage you as you're watching this video to really center into your body, into your heart. Sometimes I can find that I get really into my headspace, and as much as I love my brain, it can kind of block out my heart and body at times. So I really encourage you to center into your body at this moment. So for our first card, the belief formed by fear-based experiences or a story based off of fear that you're carrying with you, maybe have been for a while. Okay, we have the 3 of discs. Okay, so discs are the element of earth, and this is a minor card, but all of our minors are ruled by some type of major. So with the 3, our major in the major arcana is the Empress. So we have Empress and we have Earth. So the first thing I'm getting here, as you can see, we have these people working together to build something. And that's really what the 3 of Pentacles are all about. So it could be that you feel inadequate in a group. You have this idea that you're kind of useless, that you don't really bring anything to your community or to the people around you. I don't know why I'm really focusing on this woman that's standing by the bottom of the wall. I just get the sense that she's believing that she's kind of left out. She's looking up at these women up here, and in her mind is revisiting that story that she doesn't really have anything to bring, that she's not really a part of the group. And that something is keeping her apart, that she kind of has a missing piece. I'm also kind of drawn to this. It's actually, I think, supposed to be a window in the wall, but it makes me think of that, like a reflection of there's a piece missing. And this is a story that comes up again and again, maybe for you, pile number 1. I'm going to put this down for now, and I might come back and kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Speak more into this card as we go along. Sometimes the cards can really just add more information to the card we pulled previously. So yeah, for the story, I'm really getting a sense of you feel kind of apart from your community. Whether or not that's actually true, you have this story inside of you that you're kind of separate from your community, that you don't really have anything to bring, that your skills aren't really that important, that you're kind of comparing yourself to others, and you're looking at them and you're seeing what they have and you think you don't have what they have. So the second question is where the wound is, or where the affected area is. So we have this story, and now we want to know what part of your life, your psyche, your heart is being affected by this story. Take a second to recenter, come back to this moment. My readings are not future-based. They're all for this present moment here, so stay with me. So where the wound is, pull a card here. We have, 4 of Wands reversed. Don't be afraid of reversals, okay? I know sometimes we can have a little bit of a trigger response to things coming up reversed, but it's not anything bad. So again, I will say that the wands, their element, I'll pull this up so you can see a better picture. The wands, the element of the wands are fire, okay? And the wands all have to do with our motivation, our energy, our passion, our desires. And it is ruled by the Emperor, because Emperor is number 4 in the major arcana. So again, I really get this sense, look, we have this community here, we have some type of celebration, we have a party, we are celebrating this life energy in the center. And so where I'm getting, what I'm getting for where your wounded area is that sense of celebration in community, where you feel like you can celebrate passion and love and connection. So I get a sense that because you have this story, that there's something missing inherently in you, because the discs are based on the body and the physical. So that you believe inherently there is something missing within you. just that's how you were born. And maybe you haven't really unpacked this story, and it causes you kind of to feel like you can't join that celebration. You're not allowed to step into that happiness, into that joy space. Yeah, that's what I'm getting for you right now as the wounded area. And that can be really hard. I've definitely been in positions before where I have felt like I don't fit, I don't belong. And then when I go someplace like some type of party or social gathering, I know that's not happening very much now with COVID, but it can be difficult because I'm carrying this story around with me and I'm not able to join in the festivities because I'm so focused on the fact that, oh no, I have something missing. I can't be a part of this. So we're going to go on to the next question. And again, I might speak back more into these cards as we go along. I kind of like to build on the cards as I go on with the reading. Our third question is how you might bring compassion in to this spot, this space, compassion and presence into this wound. So, and into this story really. So we're going to ask how we can bring compassion here. It's hard. It's really hard, especially like, as I said, with the Five of Cups, I know that when we're experiencing grief, a lot of the time, guilt and shame can come up as well. So we really limit how much healing we allow ourselves to have, how much grieving we allow ourselves to experience, because we are so focused on feeling guilty. So it can be hard to bring compassion, but this is our card here for the compassion we can bring in. Oh, okay. We have the Knight. Well, it's here. It's called the Sun of Discs, but in other decks, it's called the Knight. So we have the Sun of Discs here. It's reversed, but we'll turn it up. Oh, okay. And he's shooting an arrow at some type of target. And I love how green this space is, because the green is associated with the heart chakra, which is kind of what we're going for right now with compassion. So the Sun of Discs it's the elements, there's two elements to this card. The Knights or the Suns are ruled by air in how I understand the tarot. And the discs are, of course, earth, as I said earlier. So we have air and we have earth. And the Knights are really movers in the tarot, or the Sun, I'm sorry. I know I keep saying Knights, but I'm so used to it. So how we can bring compassion, I'm getting just slow movement. Take your time again as you move through the world. Come back into your body. Come back into your center. Be here. Be here. I recently read something online about anxiety and how anxiety isn't an emotion, it's an underlying kind of like check engine light that tells you there are some emotions you haven't dealt with. So when we can become present in the moment as we move through life, we can be aware of what's here and what's kind of echoing from the past, reverberating from the past into our present life. And when we take a second to step into our center and listen, and hear because also air has to do with communication, what our stories are communicating to us, what the people around us are communicating to us. Are the two in alignment? Maybe it's not even that the people around you are saying you don't fit in. Maybe they really want you to be a part of the celebration. Maybe they love you, and there is this. So the communication you're getting from your community is completely different from the way you're communicating with yourself in your own body and your own experience. And it's so strong that it's hard for you maybe to hear what other people are saying. But with the Sun of Discs, I get a sense of focus on what is in front of you so that you can kind of compare what is real and maybe what once was real. Maybe there was really a a moment, an experience in your past where someone did make you feel like you don't fit in, like you don't have any skills to bring, that you can't be a part of the festivities. And that's painful. It really is. And so we get a chance with the Son of Discs to take a step forward, and with every step, come back into our center and say, okay, look around, open my eyes. What's here? What do I see around me? Who are the people around me? What are they saying? What am I hearing? Am I maybe holding on to something that someone said in the past, but I'm no longer hearing? Actually, I'm hearing lovely things, but it was so loud, this thing that I heard in the past, that I'm still hearing it. And so, yeah, with the Son of Discs, move slowly through this. It's difficult. It's so difficult to undo these stories. It takes a long time, and they're really confronting when we finally do start to step up and say, I'm going to challenge this story. And immediately we're confronted with even more like guilt and shame. And when we try to confront the things that hurt us, it's almost like part of us wants to, maybe our brain, our ego wants to protect us because we touch in to the wounded area, and the pain flares up again. And immediately it's like, we want to put it out and we don't want to go there, but there's something beyond the pain, and that's healing. But it can be really hard to be with. So again, with the Son of Discs, I even think of breathing, like with the air and the earth element. Breathe. Take a second. When you start to hear that story come up, plant your feet on the ground and breathe. That is how we can bring some compassion in. Oh, goodness, sorry. I'm pulling at my tablecloth here. So the fourth question is the truth of who you are. And I also put this in quotes, like how the divine sees you. And by that, I mean, we all have a space within ourselves that is in love with us, and that loves us deeply and cares for us and wants us to be well, and accepts us as we are in every moment and every day that we show up. So that's what I'll call the divine inside each of us. So how this divine part of you sees you, the truth of who you are in this life, compared to the story that you have about yourself. So, okay, this is very interesting. We have a major here. Okay. It's death. Don't be scared again. Death is actually a beautiful teacher. So we have the 13 in the major arcana. Okay. I know that seems, even I am like, oh wow, okay, this is really interesting. We have like the truth of who you are. I want to take a moment to really like honor this card's presence here. The truth of who you are is that you are someone who has lived through death. You've done it before. Like, that's why you're still here. That's why, you may have had this really wounding story, but you're still here because you know that there is life beyond that pain and that hurt and that trauma. And whether you realize it or not, you survived. You had a moment where, you experienced death in terms of love, in terms of acceptance, maybe. And the beautiful thing about death is that it's a part of a cycle. So we don't just die and never come back. I mean, everyone has a different idea about this, but there's a cycle of life, death, and rebirth. And we can just look at this. We can use the example of the seasons. And right now, as in the Northern Hemisphere, we are entering into spring soon. And life is coming back. The snow is melting and the grass is being exposed and the birds are chirping and the sun is staying up longer in the sky. And so we are experiencing this rebirth, but the only way we can is through the death cycle. So I'm also getting here, like, this story is something you can put on the fire because it's not true. It's not. Again, I'm not saying that it wasn't true at some point, that someone didn't hurt you terribly, and that obviously they have, because it's stuck with you, this story. But this is something that you can bow to, you can grieve about, and also realize it's not you anymore. You can liberate yourself from this and put it on the fire. And of course, it's always things that we let go of always kind of come back to us in a different form. And it's like we get another chance to cycle through it with a new perspective, with a new heart, with a set of eyes, so to speak. And so, yeah, and I just really get a sense that you are so strong. You've lived through death. You've faced death before. And I'll stop there for now with this one. Because again, I might speak into it more, but I want to pull one more card. And it's going to be from my Archetypes deck. This is by Kim Kranz. And I really like this deck a lot. It looks like this. And these are archetypes. Archetype means original image. So the last question I have is a light to carry with you. Because as we heal, we need light. We need light to carry with us because it's not easy. It's not easy going through healing. There's so much that comes up and there's so much that wants to stop us from healing. I'll tell you that. And I'm sure you know. So a light to carry with you. We're going to see how this goes. Oh, okay. We have the storm, which seems really strange, okay, to have the storm as a sense of a light. But how I'm really reading this for you right now is, we all know that saying, or maybe you don't, but that expression of like, after the storm, comes a rainbow, or, there's light behind the darkness. And for this, I really get a sense of that kind of nervous system type of storm, psychological, neurological storm within the mind, within the body, when we are really triggered, when a story and a memory comes up, something that really hurt us, something that really scared us, and we are in this storm, and it's overwhelming, it's intense. And I know this seems strange, but as a light, I'm getting, remember that it's a storm. Remember that you're in a storm. Hold that and know that there is like clear skies behind it. You can hold this storm through your breath. I know it's so hard because I've been in the past few days really having storm experiences within my body, within my mind, with my heart, where these memories will come up and I can feel like the thunder and the lightning inside of me, and it's hard. It's hard to breathe through. It's hard to move through. But it's a practice of kind of holding the storm while also knowing that there are clear skies behind it. So in some weird contrasted way, when that storm comes up inside of you, that is a light for you to remember, okay, here's a storm. I have my breath, I have my body, like I have love around me. I'm going to breathe through this. And I know that beyond the storm, there's going to be some clear skies for me. And also remember, you are incredibly, incredibly strong because you have faced death before, whatever that looks like for you. And death scares a lot of people, and so do storms. but you can do it. You can really move through it. Yeah, so that's what I'm getting for you, my pile number ones, for those of you who chose the quartz. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this reading. Be kind to yourself, be gentle, take breaths. You are loved, you are wanted, we need you here. And I'll see you in my next reading, my next video. I love you very much. Bye. Welcome, pile number 2, for those of you who picked the Petrified wood. This is the reading for you. Our first prompt for the first card is the belief or the story that is formed by fear and guilt-based experiences. So again, this reading is all about the narratives that we have in our head that have maybe been handed down to us, that we may have experienced in the past and we're still holding on to. So we're going to look at what this story or this belief is for you. Okay, I'm going to pull a card here. Oh, 5 of discs. I've pulled this card a lot recently. Beautiful. So I'll say something first here. Discs are the element of earth. And the 5s, so this is a minor, but each minor is ruled by a major. So this minor is ruled by the major, which is the 5th major, which is the Hierophant. So we have the 5 of discs here. Okay, so first of all, 5s tend to be contractive cards. And what that means is, and maybe you know the expression, with every expansion comes a contraction. So there are moments in our lives when we're feeling a little doubtful, we're feeling a little uncertain, we're feeling a little bit afraid. And part of it is because we have been expanding into things that scare us, into things that are unknown to us, into things that are new for us. And with the Hierophant, we're really being asked in the major, the Hierophant is number 5, to question where we are hearing from, where our source is, what is our source of information, what is our source of understanding. And in particular with the discs, the story we have about our bodies and the space that we have here. So the belief I'm getting here for you is I get a sense of contraction around the things that you are creating in this lifetime. Whenever I look at this card, I feel like this woman is kneading her dough, is creating, but in some sense is feeling weary, has this weariness, almost like she's carrying the story with her about, whether what she creates, what she brings, what she manifests is worthwhile. And I really get a sense of weariness here. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to see if the other cards can inform us a little bit more as to this story. I don't want to speak out of turn, so I'm just going to wait and see what the other cards might have to bring up. So, okay, the second question is where the wound is, where the affected part is. So we have this story here, and it's contractive, and it has to do with our earthly experience and our how we manifest here in our body. And I want to know which part, we want to know which part of ourselves is being affected by this story and how we show up every day. So we're going to pull a card here for the part that's being affected by this story. This is the part within you. Oh my goodness. We have another 5 card. Okay, so you are in some great contractive experiences here. But it's the 5 of Swords. So again, we have the Hierophant. And the Hierophant has to do with well, I say he because that's often how the Hierophant is depicted on an image, but I'll just say they, since it's more inclusive. They are someone who is connected to a divine source, to information beyond like the human realm, and they kind of hear it and bring it down. I think, to use a biblical myth here, biblical story, we think Moses coming down with the 10 commandments, that type of thing, where we have somebody who is connected to a source and kind of speaks to a congregation from like that source. And this group of people looks to this person, the Hierophant, for this divine information. So with the 5 of, and ultimately in our own psychological experience, the work we do with the Hierophant in the tarot is recognizing that we are that. We have that connection. We don't have to look outside of ourselves for someone else to tell us what is divine. So with the 5 of Swords and the swords being represented by air, I get the sense that your mind is really being affected. And how you communicate is really being affected. How you move through the world is really being affected by this story that you have, which is also a contractive story around the body, how you show up on this earth. I must say, I have to admit that 5s are a very complex card for me in the tarot. I find that they are very, I feel like they show up very uniquely in whatever reading that one is doing. They have a type of bitter medicine to them, and they can be hard to see because they are contractive experiences. And I really get a sense that I just want to encourage you that the only reason why you are presently having this contractive experience is because you've been expanding greatly. We only ever experience these contractions. Again, think about a woman in labor when, she is expanding physically in her body. And part of the expansion, she cannot expand to birth something into the world without that contractive piece there. So, yeah, but again, we have a story that you're holding on to that causes a lot of contraction, that causes, and it can come up, I think it comes up around the body. It could be that you have a relationship with your body that is really kind of tough, or even a relationship to time, how long things are taking. We're going to keep going because I think that the cards that come up are going to help us speak more into these 5s. As I said, they kind of show up uniquely within every reading. So yeah, and as always, just remember that my readings are not future-based. They're really for this present moment. So be here with me as much as you can in this contractive experience that you're having. Remember that it's so normal to have contractive experiences. It does not mean that there's anything wrong with you, or that you need to isolate yourself or be alone, or that no one can accept you. You can give yourself all sorts of spaciousness and acceptance and presence in this contraction. So the third question we have is how you might bring compassion and presence in to this space here, to this contractive space. We're going to pull a card. Oh, beautiful. Okay. We have Four of Cups reversed. Oh, wow. Okay. So cups are the element of water, and the four in the majors is the Emperor. Again, I'm telling you this, maybe you're interested, maybe you're not, but that's okay. Okay, so with the Four of Cups, we are really being offered, think about four walls. That's what the fours can really help us imagine, is four walls, is this space to process emotionally. And that's what is really needed in a contractive experience, is space, right? Because we're having this moment where something is really, really tight, and we need somewhere in our life to give us a little bit more room to open up. So it's interesting that we have the body here and we have the mind. I think that there's probably a little bit of, maybe you've heard of the idea of body-mind connection. It could be that, and again, I'm really getting the sense that this has to do with your relationship with your body. When I know for myself, as someone who's experienced a difficult relationship to my body, when I have a contraction towards like my body and how I feel, like how I experience it, it kind of doubles down in my mind space, where then my mind kind of, it takes that in, it takes that story in, and I mean, they're not really separated, right? You can't actually separate the mind from the body, but that's a huge part of what our culture likes to do, is to make us feel like these things are separate and that they don't affect one another, but they do, as any, I'm sure, good neurologist or psychologist would tell you. So in terms of how we can let compassion in, is this emotional heart space. Come back, and I really feel like the heart is the mediator. It is the part of us that can is the most spacious, is the most compassionate, wants us to be the most whole and healed and held. And so with the Four of Cups, we get a chance to kind of close off all of our walls, in terms of like letting other kind of emotions in that are not ours, and to sit in our heart, in our body, in our mind, and just let all of that emotional water kind of run out. I don't know if you've ever just sat with yourself and taken a second to get into your center, and then all of a sudden all these tears come up and out. That's kind of what I get with the Four of Cups. When we're having contraction in the body and we can't be gracious towards our body, and then the mind comes in and, maybe might even guilt us for how we are experiencing our body, or this, again, sometimes when we're in contractive spaces, we like to double down on our criticism with ourselves, and it makes it really much more compounded. So with the Four, we get a chance to, there's spaciousness, but also within a sacred space that's for you. So again, we're going to probably speak more into these cards as we go along, but another question we have here is the truth of who you are as seen by the divine. And to me, the divine, or at least how I'm defining it today, is that part of us that really wants us to be loved and well and whole, and loves us and accepts us every single day, no matter how we show up. That to me is the divine space. So how the divine in ourselves sees us is usually with much more compassion than judgment. So we're going to see the truth of how you are seen by this divine part of yourself. Okay. Card. Ooh, okay. Daughter of Discs. Reversed, but we'll turn it up. So, Daughter of Discs, this is called the Page in Other Decks. Page of Earth in other decks. And the pages are ruled by Earth, and the discs are the element of Earth. So we have a double Earth elementation here. The truth is that you are as beautiful and as spacious and as life-giving as the earth around you. With the page of Earth, a page of discs, or the daughter of discs, I know I used this expression before, but this is like a double down on Earth, like really coming back into the body and the present moment. So the truth is, your body is perfect. You are perfect here. You can be here, and kind of open your eyes to that. Be in the moment. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing with any time that a story comes up that's from the past, that's an echo from the past, is often to just come back to the present. And here, I just love that we have this double Earth here. The pages are the daughters in this deck are so important because they have gone through the ace to 10 in the minors. They have gone through the whole experience, and now they are mastering the element. They are beginning they are beginning to really learn how to hone their skill here. So I get a sense that you want to have a beautiful relationship with your body, with the space and the environment around you. You want to believe that you are here for a reason, that you have a purpose and a reason for existence. And the truth is that you do. And I think that it's so easy to forget that and to even kind of erase that belief, that truth, because it is truth, at least to me, that we are here for some type of reason. Just today, we are here for a reason. And part of it is to be in our bodies and to experience that, and that it's okay to have these contractive experiences. It's completely normal. It really, really is. And that's actually what makes us more full in our bodies. Again, you can't have expansion without contraction. You have this contractive experience, and within it, you feel like shit. It's part of my language, but once you kind of expand out of it, you expand out with a bit more grace and compassion. And I know that you want to be here on this earth, but maybe that it might be hard to be in your body. And I also know you want to love your body, and that's why there's a little bit of maybe dissonance between the mind and the body. There's a relationship there that needs to be healed, and I believe that you have that within you. Okay, we're gonna pull one last card, and it's gonna be from my Archetypes deck. This is by Kim Kranz. And the last card we're pulling is a light to carry with you. So as we go through these healing experiences, it's helpful to have a light to kind of use, to turn to lean on, so to speak, because it's hard. Healing brings up a lot of old stories. So we're going to ask for a light here for you. Okay, pick a card, any card. Oh, Aletheia. Okay. So we have here 2 roses, one black, one white. So again, we're getting this sense of contrast, mind-body connection, but you can see in the middle that they are connected. I think that in this society, again, in our culture, Western culture at least, there is a lot of subconscious separation of the two. But with Aletheia is all about truth and what is actually true, at least as far as I can remember. So the light that you can carry with you is take a second, come into that heart space, because the heart, as I said, is a great mediator, and ask yourself with all graciousness, with all compassion, what is true? What is true about my body? What is true about how I show up here on this earth? And see how that may kind of expose some of the falsities that you might have been holding on to, some of the binaries perhaps that you were holding on to. Again, I say that because we have this contrast between black and white, and yet they're both roses, and yet they both have an element of each within their sector here. So there's not actually this split. There isn't actually a split between our mind and our body, but we can cultivate that. And yet we can bring it back. With the Page of Earth, I really get a sense of we can call our bodies back into ourselves. We can call our mind and body closer and to themselves. We can call our heart in to help us kind of hold them together. So Aletheia is a light for you to say, what is true? What is true here? And maybe when you're in this contractive experience, hold that light up and really look at what you're experiencing. I'm having a painful moment. What is true? Is it true that I'm bad, that I shouldn't be here, that there's something wrong with me? Or is it true that being alive is hard and that I've been working really hard and that something is really scaring me, but I'm trying to expand and grow and be a whole, full human here? So yeah, and thank you for listening, those who picked this Petrified wood. I hope that you enjoyed your reading. As always, be gentle with yourself as you move through a healing space. It isn't easy and it brings up a lot. So take your time with it. Be super gracious and ask for help when you need it. Okay. Love you. See you in my next video. Bye. Welcome, my pal number 3s. So happy to have you here. For those of you who picked the lovely Citrine, we're going to start our reading off. The first question is, the belief or story formed by fear or guilt-based experiences. So again, we all have these narratives within us that are kind of echoes of the past, and maybe we've been carrying them along with us, and they've been affecting the way we move. So we're going to ask what that is for you here in this present moment. Oh, okay. 10 of Discs. Whenever I think of the 10 of Discs, or whenever I get this card, I immediately think community. I think creating. I think creating for community. So in terms of the belief that you have, it could be that you don't feel you have a community. Maybe you're feeling a little bit alone. Imagine being this woman giving birth without the help of all these women, alone. And it could be that that is kind of the story you're holding right now. You are giving birth to something, energetically, psychically, physically, and spiritually, you know, and you're feeling alone. You don't have that strong sense of community around you, and it's really been hard. It's been so hard, and yeah, again, this is kind of a story. So we have a story here, and again, the story isn't that is not to say that it's not true. It could be that it was true once upon a time. You were alone during something really taxing, that really did require some type of support, and you didn't have any. So, but now we're asking, is that still true? Is that something that is still true? Or is there community around you that maybe you're not seeing because you're so attached to this story? And you know, that's okay. It's really okay. This is not any type of judgment here. We all have stories that we are attached to, and part of the reason why we're attached to them is because they're known. And in some ways it feels easier than trying to rewrite a new story. So the second question we have is where the wound is, the affected area. So the story, what part of you is it affecting? Okay, we have the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords. Swords are the element of air, and the twos and the minors are all ruled by the major card in the major arcana, the High Priestess. The High Priestess is all about going inward and being with what is. So the affected area, we have, with the twos, we have balance, and of course this woman is actually balancing on one leg. And it's almost like she is modeling herself after this bird here. And the bird being a messenger, the birds are, you know, they fly. So again, we have the air. They travel and they communicate. Because they, you know, they have their calls, right? So I have the sense that this instinctive part of you that knows how to balance, that knows how to fly, that knows how to communicate, is being affected by this story. It seems I'm still struggling a little bit with the connection of it. But I mean, I've heard the Two of Swords be interpreted as As I'm looking at it, I recognize that we have an infinity symbol here. And the infinity is often a symbol for the divine. So I think there is, some part of you that is intuitive, that is almost it can't really be vocally expressed, is being affected by this. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to see how I can kind of pair the two together, but this is what I'm getting so far. Bear with me, people. Bear with me. We're going to get back to them, I promise, and it's all going to tie together at the end. But sometimes it's like pulling a card is like the next line in the story. So in the reading. So, okay. We have for how you might bring compassion in. That's the next question. We have the Eight of Wands. Okay. There you go. We have a woman shooting arrows. Okay. it was faced like this. I'm just going to put it like that because I think it's kind of interesting that it looks like this figure is shooting up at these two cards here. And again, we have the 8, we have the figure 8, we have the infinity sign here. So there's a sense of divinity, of the divine being with you. I know I keep saying that, but I think there's something to the unseen support around us. There's something to there's something to opening up to the unseen support around us. So that's what I have so far. But with the compassion we can bring in, we have the 8 of Wands. So the Wands are ruled by fire, or they are the element of fire. And the 8s, this is the minor, the major and the 8s, and the major, number 8 card in the major is either strength or justice, depending on how you read tarot. I'm going to say that it's justice because for this reading, because I know that this deck, justice is number 8, and justice is all about being with what is. And we have to ask ourselves here, where have you been putting your energetic fire? Where have you been driving your energy? As we can see, this figure is shooting in one direction. They have a goal, they have a drive, and they are shooting there. So I do have this sense that you are struggling with the belief that you have no community, but you are wanting to actually, you are doing everything you can to move in that direction. Even if you're not aware of that, you are actually moving there. And I'm just like, how does this connect to the 2 of Swords? I know this sounds really strange, but the 2 of Swords is really all about checking in when we're having a kind of dissonance in the mind. We can kind of check in and balance it out a little bit. And again, the 2 is about balance. I think it's interesting that justice is often seen with a balance. So it could be about balancing out that story, and in terms of the affected area in our mind, we're a little bit unbalanced. We have, and I don't mean that in terms of like chemical unbalance or anything like that, but because you have this belief that you are alone, it's almost like it tips the scale. And energetically, you are putting in maybe more than you actually need to, because you're not asking, you really don't, now I'm starting to see it, you really don't believe you have support or help, and you can't see it, and there's a lot of wounding around that because you feel alone and during a really like difficult, trying experience, and it's kind of tipping your thoughts towards I'm isolated, I'm alone, no one's here to help me, I have to do this all myself. And we get this chance at the 8 of Wands to say, how much energy do I actually have to bring to something, and who else can I ask for help? There's a sense that we can, in this card, open our eyes a little bit and say, am I alone, or do I feel alone? And of course, if you feel alone, there's totally nothing wrong with bowing to that and really holding that. And recognizing, I've put a lot of energy into, I have, put a lot of energy into my goals and my passions. And it's been difficult and it's been hard. But maybe is there room to open your eyes to the community of people around you? Okay, we're gonna keep going. I want to see what this next card might have to bring for us. And again, it might, maybe this seems strange to you that I'm reading and I'm having moments of uncertainty, but that's just the truth of the tarot, at least for me. Whoop. So the last question we're going to use for this deck, and then we have another deck we're going to use, is the truth of who you are, or how the divine sees you. That's how I literally wrote this question, and I know I keep on mentioning the symbol of the infinity being a presence of divinity. And that divine is what I am meaning when I say that, is the part of you that sees you as whole and beautiful and worthy of love. So how this part of you sees you. Oh, okay. 7 of Cups. I get the sense that you are someone that likes to dream. You are somebody that you're kind of driven by your dreams in a way. You have a lot of, vision that is very heartfelt, and I really feel like this reading is so complex, because I know what it's like to feel alone and to not be able to see at all that there might be something there for you, that there might be someone there for you. And it can, again, with the 2 of Swords, it's usually the image is a woman who is blindfolded, and she has these 2 swords, and it's almost like the swords are representative of 2 different thoughts, 2 different types of communication, and they're in the center, and they have to kind of close their eyes, go into themselves, and find the truth. So for me, I get the sense of balance between knowing when you are alone and when you are not. And how that you are seen is that you have so much. I think why this is so hard for you is because why this story is hard for you, you're alone, is because there are so many things that you want to move towards that are heartfelt and are exciting and are full of hope. That's what I get with the white bird above. And you want to put energy towards them, but it's hard when you feel like you're not supported. And okay, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. The last question we have is a light to carry with you. So as we heal, it can be hard and it can be dark. It can bring up a lot of dark stuff. Dark as in unknown or kind of pushed away, things we've kind of pushed away so that we didn't have to look at them. And it can be helpful to have a light to bring with us as we move through. So, the Orphan. Oh my goodness. Okay. I feel like this reading is so complex. Okay. So, I really, it's almost crazy. I was talking about how you feel alone, and we have the orphan, that you don't have community, and we have the orphan. And, you know, that as the Eight of Wands was like how you might bring compassion, was knowing that, you know, the energy that you put into striving to create community, to be a part of community, to find your community, is admirable and is seen. It is seen. I really get that sense with, especially with the infinity sign here. It's seen. And with the orphan as the light, I get a sense that yes, we can deeply bow to the moments when we felt really alone. And again, with the Seven of Cups, I feel like it makes me want to cry. This, like, the Seven of Cups makes me think so much about like imagination and dreaming and visions, and like having all of these different ideas that are so, again, heartfelt. And like I really feel like that's connected to the orphan, because I see the orphan as, especially since we have a child's hand here, maybe you were alone at one time, but there is community here for you now. At least here, I just want to say, you know, I'm here for you. I know that I'm in a video, or like I'm doing a video right now, and maybe it doesn't feel like all that comforting, but I know, even if you don't know me, what it's like to feel alone and to feel like you have no community, and it kind of makes you feel like you have to be alone, and almost like, again, I get the sense of an island, being alone on an island by yourself. But any effort that you put into to reach out, to connect, even if it's not with people, even if, again, it's with the divine within yourself, that effort doesn't land. It's not like it doesn't go anywhere. And again, I know I keep saying this, but this reading feels so complex to me. It just feels like there's so many nuances to it. And again, with the orphan card, that feeling of being abandoned, being alone, and especially, you know, I think about children during their formative years being alone. And it's so hard, and it really does create that story of, I'm on an island, I'm alone, I have to do things by myself, there's no one here to help me, this is just kind of how it is. And we don't even stop, and maybe you haven't even stopped to think about that there might be people around you, seen or unseen, that want to help you. And that your desire to, maybe you're even dreaming about being a part of community, you know, that is precious. I just really get a sense of, you're so precious, and I don't mean that in you're fragile, or you're like, you know, really too sensitive to handle. Again, I keep saying this, but just, there is a part of you that is really such a treasure, and you know that, but at the same time you doubt that. And part of the reason why you want to be part of community is to be seen. Again, with the orphan, you know, you want to be seen so that you can feel loved and safe and cherished. So yeah, this is as your light, I think you can bow to those moments when you were really alone. And also, in this moment, with this Two of Swords here, close your eyes, take a second to check in and say, am I alone? Maybe there is a moment you can ask for yourself, within yourself, am I alone? If there is, you know, any part of me that is with me right now, please be with me. And just first connect with yourself, you know? I know that sounds kind of like it's hard, especially when we've been, you know, think about COVID, we've all been alone in our houses, and it can be really tough. But there's definitely something with when we can connect with ourselves and see the treasure within ourselves. We don't feel as vulnerable going out and finding community because we feel assured in ourselves, and we are putting ourselves out there to be seen. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that pile number 3. It was quite a ride for me doing that reading, to be honest. I hope you got something from it. If you didn't, then that's okay. But here's the crystal you chose, the beautiful citrine. I'm gonna put it in the hand there of the little orphan. I know what it's like to feel alone, and I just encourage you, if you are going through something that is really difficult, that takes a lot of your energy, to maybe check in and see where you can find community to support you. And again, it's really hard. I think when we have this idea that we don't have community, it's like a story that I know I've held on to for a long time. It's hard to then believe that we can be a part of a community, but maybe open yourself up to that a little bit and let yourself dream and imagine yourself being a part of community. There you go. That's it for my pile number 3s. I hope you liked it, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!